Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our little show. My name's Ethan. I'm here with my co-host Jock. Today we have a very special guest on. Her name is Zoe. She's from Alaska. Uh, she is one of the friends that Jock made during his program. Now he's back in Regina. If you remember our last episode, and right now we're just gonna sit down and have a little conversation between us. Now this episode is really interesting because I have a flight to catch in just 2 days, and Chalk just got his permit, a work permit. Congratulations! You've been, it's been stressing you out so much, and I'm glad it's working out for you. And Zoe just got back from Quebec. Now we have a, yeah. Did I say something wrong? No?
You're somewhere else after Quebec, right?
Yeah. I was in New Hampshire, and then I just
Yeah.
got back
Okay, my bad.
um,
I was just
but
assuming you were back from Quebec. But anyway, this episode is very special in that way. A lot of new, exciting things are coming up for all of us. And I feel like it's going to be interesting. So let's jump right straight into it. Now, before we begin, Zoe, do you mind introduce yourself a little bit and how?
oh,
Yeah, yeah.
definitely. Well, hi, I'm Zoe. I met Jacques at a French language immersion program, and he introduced me to this podcast and asked me to come on. And I just live in Fairbanks, Alaska. Very different than um, any of the other people that I met at the Explore program. But it was a very, very fun program, and I'm very excited to be on this lovely podcast.
Yay! So glad to have
Amazing
you on.
introduction.
Yeah.
And just for the viewers at home, Fairbanks, Alaska is smaller than Regina. I couldn't believe it when I looked it up and I'm like, what? There's places that are smaller than Regina out there? It fascinated me.
Clearly, you haven't seen my hometown because, like, I'm pretty sure nothing can get smaller than that. It was just basically a village. But anyway, I just love the idea of Jacques just like running around asking his friends to be on this podcast. It's kind of it's kind of adorable.
Exploiting my
So,
friendships.
anyway, Zoe, Jacques and I had never met anyone that's from Alaska. So can you talk to me a little bit about the state and how it's like?
Yeah, well, Alaska is it's a really big state. It's the biggest state in the United States.
The biggest.
And a lot of
Okay.
people think that, oh, we ride polar bears and have iglus for houses. You maybe up north, but in Fairbanks at least, it's in the middle of the state, so we only have pet polar bears in the winter. But okay,
That you ride into work, yes.
yeah, it's very fuel efficient actually.
I'm sure.
But um, yeah, it's great, and the summer it's pretty temperate. And unfortunately, I don't really know Celsius, but it usually ranges from 60 degrees to sometimes up to the 90s, but only the 90s for a week or so.
Hmm.
Um, and then in the winter it can get pretty cold. It's been warming up over these years, as I'm sure you guys know. Um, but in the winter it can get to negative 30 to negative 40 degrees, and it'll snow and then it'll pile up and snow. And one winter was really bad because it snowed and then it rained and then it froze, and the roads were horrible until things finally melted in April and May. So it's nice, but sometimes it's it can be an extreme place to live because in the winter it's dark for a long time, and in the summer it's light for a long time.
I can relate. I kind of know what that weather's like in some ways with the black ice and the snow. Ethan, you're going to be experiencing this soon when you come to Regina. You experience the nice summertime where it's beautiful in Regina.
Sunny
The
and
birds are
rainbow.
out and things like that. Soon you'll know the dark ages.
Oh man. Um, so would you say that there's a lot of difference between Canada and Alaska? Like,
Actually, no.
Mm-hmm.
No,
No.
when I went to Quebec, it seemed like very similar. The only thing is that just for Fairbanks at least, it was more rainy and more
Mm-hmm.
stormy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one day there was a tornado warning. And we don't get tornadoes here. We mainly get like forest fires. Like right now, forest fires going on,
Oh yeah.
so it's smoky.
It.
But I don't think that they're towards anyone's houses. I think they're just kind of like over miles away.
Mhm. It's so funny you brought up the tornado thing because like when the last summer when I went to Regina, um, so the first thing the first notice that I got in my phone was a shooting happened in Vancouver. That was pretty funny. I told Charles about it once, and then the second thing it was the tornado, and I was like, oh my God, there's a tornado outside. Like, isn't everybody concerned or something? And then I asked, well, I asked someone, and then I asked Charles, and he was just like, I don't care. No one cares. And I was so surprised by that.
That's
That just
exactly
might
how
be
it was
me.
in Quebec. Because like everyone shut down doors. It was like fun. Like mine is from Louisiana, and I was thinking that, like a big issue. She's like, no, we have them all the time in Louisiana. She's like, my friend, like their family, like their roof got torn off by a tornado. They rebuilt it, and then it got torn off. Like that is rough.
It's well,
Wow.
is it a normal thing to get your roof torn off by a tornado?
I don't know. We don't get tornadoes, so I don't know what's the norm. But
I've heard a lot of stories of like trees falling on people's houses. I think like not really roofs getting torn off, but like trees just falling down. Like I think even like trees fall down and kill people.
yeah,
But you know, that's Canada.
yeah.
Yeah. Uh, I have one question, but I kind of forgot. Joe, you want to say something?
Um, okay, well, we can move on to like the topic of work, but I
We'll
guess
get
one
there.
question I
Yeah.
have for Zoe is I was watching a video and it wasn't at all to do with Alaska, but like the person was in Alaska at the time when he was recording the video and he was saying that he like was on a bike trip. And I was like, do many people like have go on bike trips in Alaska? Like, is it known for like its biking terrain?
Yeah. I mean, not like. Mm, yeah, I do know a lot of people who like they'll take like mountain bikes or like those like fatty tire bikes, and they'll like bike out to like we have these state managed cabins that a lot of people like to go out, and then other like bike races and stuff. And my friend was actually talking about biking down to like Denali Park or even Anchorage. Anchorage would be far. Anchorage is like 6 hours just driving, which isn't like as far as driving like Calgary, but it like for biking could not do it. But yeah, I think it is pretty common. A lot of people here are very outdoorsy. Like Alaska, if you like the wilderness or if you like hunting or something, it's definitely the place to be, because there's a lot of opportunities to go fishing or hunting or skiing or do any of that kind of outdoorsy sports.
Now, Zoe, before I begin, you have to pardon my ignorance because I it's so amazing that you're from Alaska because like I never met anyone in my life who's from the state. But now I'm kind of interested. I'm kind of wondering. So you travel a lot, right? Um,
Yeah.
can you tell me a little bit about where you went to and how did you end up in Quebec, Canada, and met Jacques?
Oh, well, yeah. Well, let's see. I've been studying French for quite a few years now, and my university professor last year was telling us about these study abroad programs, and then the one in Quebec came up, and I was like, oh, I think that'd be a great program to do to, enhance my abilities and learn more and just create like a nice full immersion. So I took that up, and that's how I went to Quebec for a month. But before that, I went to Japan, and that's just because my family and I wanted to do a trip. We hadn't done a trip since before the pandemic, so we're like, we should take a nice trip somewhere. So we went to we started in Tokyo. We went to like Takayama, and then over around to some other villages and like Hiroshima and Kyoto, and it was really fun. It was really fun. I wish it would have been a little bit more useful if I could speak Japanese, but we had a tour guide for like most of it, so that was nice. But thank goodness for Google. That really saved my ass several times. But yeah, and then just this last New Hampshire trip was just to visit some relatives.
Mm.
But that was only just for like a little bit.
I see Jock smiling when you mention Japan.
Yeah, Japan, that primitive place, where they still use sticks and stones instead of like actual machinery.
I just love.
Good thing that.
I just love how we
I've
have.
been to Japan a few times.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say it's so funny because we all have some sort of connection to Japan. I think Jock is half Japanese, right? And
You think? Okay, we've been doing 16 episodes, and you think, wow, like how deep is our friendship, Ethan? At this point, I'm questioning everything.
Jock went
Yes,
to
I am
Japan.
half Japanese.
Jock went to Japan a lot, and I actually tried to get into Japan once as well. It didn't work out. But anyway, Jock, Jock can teach you Japanese. I mean, I asked him once, but like he wouldn't. So I guess it's gonna be it's you, so it's gonna be different, right?
Right now, I'm too busy learning. Actually, I haven't even started learning Mandarin, but like ideally, eventually, I'll be learning Mandarin.
We could do a trade. I do Mandarin. You can teach me Japanese. It all works.
Oh,
Sure. I think that would be a great idea if it was like a month ago, because like it looks like I'm going to be leaving next week for China, and I don't think like 5 days worth of Mandarin practice will save me much. But who knows? Like, if the visa application doesn't work out, yeah, maybe we can do Japanese and Mandarin lessons.
it will work out.
I can teach you broken Japanese, and you can teach me perfect like native Mandarin.
Please, this
I'm
guy.
not sure at all.
Jock keeps saying like his Japanese is not good, but like he lived there for several years and he studied there as well. I don't think.
Several years? Like I lived there for 5 months max. That was
really?
the longest time I was over there. Yeah.
Oh, okay, my memory messed up.
Several years.
But still, come on. I mean,
I feel like you have to know from that.
Well, I'm learning Mandarin too, so I guess we can, have a group study maybe.
Why does everyone know Mandarin except me? Like,
Whoa, hey, I
and I'm the one who
don't,
needs it.
I don't know Mandarin. The best I can do is just like order fried chicken or something.
I don't even know how to say where's the bathroom. Like, I'd trade you any day, Ethan. Like, I feel like with everything, I'm just so slow. Like, with French, my whole elementary was in French. And I was like taking language classes, and like, man, these people in my class are so good. Why am I not this good?
I don't
But
see.
I mean, you were at a perfect level like back in the intensive. You know what's really funny? Actually, after the intensive, my French teacher emailed me, and she's like, "Do you want to be like the French tutor for this year?" And I said yes. But that just shows you what lack of skill there is at UAF, University of Alaska Fairbanks.
I don't
because
know.
I was out of the 6th level, I was level 3.
I think you're capping a bit, Zoe, because like you got scholarships. That must mean you're somewhat of a good student here.
I honestly,
I think
the scholarship that I got for like doing it, I feel like they probably gave it to me just because I applied. It's a very small college.
Sure. This is like a dark horse in the shadows, like, pretending to be like the weakling, but actually is like really strong.
Now I'm curious.
Like, okay, I get it. It's like two smarties and a dummy on call. I'm the dummy. I'm good at talking. That's why I'm on this podcast. And you guys, can actually do the intellectual things.
Oh.
Have all the scholarships.
Please, like I don't think any of us like flying to China next month for a job. I could like I was talking to my friend the other day and I was like, yeah, Jock got his work permit, and she was like, oh my God, that's big, and I was like,
Yeah.
God, I wish that was me, you know?
Really?
Yeah, I did say
wish you were
that.
going for 2 years to a country where you don't speak the language,
Well,
and
not
like trying to survive
Well, I mean, not China, but you know.
and pretending to be respectable for like these kids, like pretending, oh, I know all this. I totally know textiles. I've never studied textiles in my life. Like literally, I know nothing. I can't even sew. And I'm going to be teaching textiles over there.
Amazing.
Wish me luck, guys. I don't know
I
if
mean-
I'll survive.
I mean, 2 years. I think that you're bound to pick up some language or whatever. And I realized, I think, at least next summer I want to go to China. But like possibly like the year after this school year, I want to go like a year abroad to China. So it'd be cool, like if we could like meet up or something. I'll see how you
Sure.
progress.
If I'm still alive there and I'm not like dead in a dumpster, we can meet up. So it'll be cool. Yeah, you can see the lack of Chinese I've learned within the year. You'll be like, wow, I can't believe it. He still doesn't know a word of Chinese. I'll be surviving with just like gestures and pictorials.
Yeah. It'll be
Shall we get to the topic?
We are getting there. Like, why you keep pushing? Like, we should get to the topic.
Well, I'm guessing you two have eaten. Me, I've been like on a plane for like an hour. Okay, just for reference, viewers. Yesterday, I got my work permit at like midnight. In the morning, I finished my application, and just like I just got off the plane, went to the youth hostel where there's like it's so busy. This is my first time being at a youth hostel. There's people everywhere. You just like go to the bathroom, there's people. You go to your room, there's people. It's just like people everywhere. So I'm in some like dark corner next to like the community bathroom, hoping that no one like walks by. And I haven't eaten. I just got to the youth hostel and I'm on the podcast. Talk about dedication. Yes, I might be the dummy on this podcast, but I'm a dedicated dummy.
good.
We're proud of you.
Thank you.
Okay, so you want to get into it? Let's get into it. So, Zoe, Jock mentioned that you were working and you kind of hate your job. So, can you tell me a little bit?
I didn't say hate. I said
It was a terrible job.
kind of.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what I heard. It's not like Anyway, Zoe, you want to share a little bit? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I applied for my job kind of like in May of 2020. So that was like post lockdown, still during the pandemic. And so, the only one that was open was the grocery store. So I worked at the grocery store and I still work there, which is kind of surprising, but it's okay. Except for the customers. Because, I don't think I even need to.
Yeah. No, just, yeah. You don't have to get into it too much.
Yeah, but it's just with anything these days, like short staffed and like a lot of stuff to do. And right now we're doing a remodel, so that just adds on to the fun. And I actually get to return there tomorrow, so it'll be very fun.
Good luck. I wish you the best, young Zoe.
Thank you. But I'm the best because I only have like a little over, like I think it's like a week and a half or so until school starts. In which case I transfer to mainly school instead of mainly work. And right now I have a TA position lined up for a genetics class, and then also my French tutor. So I think that with those, that'll cover my bases for work and income this fall. So I hope that I won't have to be at my other job too much. And I plan on quitting maybe this winter if I find another good job.
Now,
I think my point stands. Well-rounded individual.
Yeah,
Obviously very
amazing.
successful.
amazing.
Dark horse.
Are you sure that there's one dumb monkey on here? Because like I'm feeling a little bit.
Yeah, me and you, Ethan.
We're just two dummies.
We can be the
sitting.
dummies here. Come to my side.
Now, I have one question, if you don't mind answering. Is that how do you balance those, like everything? Because like it seems like you're a very busy person with a lot of things going on. So,
I just don't have much of a social life. I have a little bit. I have, like friends that I hang out with sometimes, but for the most part, it's like study. When I'm not studying, I'm working, and when I'm not working, I'm sleeping. So it kind of like, but I like that because I like staying busy. Because a lot of times, yeah, college, all my friends get and I like don't match up. So if even if I could have free time, it's not always like they have free time too. But um, that's actually what I'm trying to work on. I'm like, okay, this fall, I need to actually not be a hermit crab and you know be better about meeting people and like talking to people.
Just out of curiosity, what time do you go to bed usually?
I don't actually usually go to bed that late. I'm not crazy like you and stay up until like 5 in the morning, but I usually go to bed around like 10 or 11, but I wake up around like 6 or so.
I go to bed at 10:30. Like I don't stay up at still 5 in the morning. You should be looking at this guy over here.
What?
He like texts me like I'll wake up and he'll be like I'll receive a text from him and I'll look at the time in Vietnam and I'll be like, just wait. This is like 6 in the morning. Why is he up now? Like and then I'll get like a text like at like I think like 4 in the afternoon. And that's like again like insane time in Vietnam. But, like, how does this guy function?
Okay, okay.
You know, I'll let you know. In high school, I went to bed at 9:30, and then in university, I went to bed at I started to kind of get around to 10:30, and then just like third year, fourth year ruined me. Like now, I just go to bed at 11:30, and sometimes even 12.
I was so
Why does
surprised.
life have to get so difficult?
I was so surprised when Zoe said that Jock, the type of guy who would like stay up at 5 because he's always the type of guy who's like go to bed at 9.
Oh, really? I
Yeah.
thought that you would like sometime during the program, you're like, well, I need to finish my 5 Chinese training videos. I'm gonna pull an all-nighter.
Okay, I never pulled an all-nighter in my life. Except
Oh.
when I went for a sleepover at a friend's and they watched horror movies the whole time. I just wanted to sleep in the tent. But yes, you're right. I had to watch 5 training videos and I was very depressed during the program because like my visas and things weren't working out. So there were some nights where I slept at 3. But that was like that's very rare for me. Like I usually don't get depressed and
Yeah.
sleep at 3 and buy like Pepsi. Like I bought a whole 6-pack of Pepsi, and that's like so like something I never do. It was just like it was awful.
The edge for you.
Now for me, I'm just like Jock. I never go to bed anywhere past 12. The thing about me and a bunch of Texas at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. is that I am a very light sleeper. And
Oh.
yeah, because like the moment Jock sends me something, okay, so like there was the period of time where it was, trying to work with a university, figure out how to defer my semester because I didn't get my visa. So I would get emails at like 3 a.m. So
Isa.
yeah, I know the struggle. So I would get emails about, updates on things, very important things. So I get very anxious when there's a notification on my phone at like 3 a.m. So that became a habit. And now Jock is texting me at like 4 p.m. in Regina. And I got a message at like 2 a.m. And I was like, oh my God, what's
It's
this?
my fault, eh?
I'm not saying it's
my
your fault. I'm not saying it's your fault. I'm just saying
I see.
I'm just saying, I do go to bed early, very early even. But anyway, Zoe, you mentioned about how this fall you wanted to try to change. I think you do. I think you're doing great. I mean, the fact that you agreed to hop on this podcast. Ask Jock. Like he asked a bunch of people to be on, and a lot of them was kind of, shy, a little bit nervous.
Are you throwing all the people that I asked under the bus, Ethan?
No, well, I mean that's a fact. I mean,
I'm joking. No, it is true. Like there aren't many people who like. I ask a lot of people to be on the podcast, and very very few actually agree, which is kind of sad because like I feel like the podcast is a great way to like kind of remember
See,
Yeah.
see,
the relationships and
yeah,
things
yeah.
like that.
That's why. That's why.
Yeah.
It's very great to have you on, Zoe. You know, and
Thank you.
yeah, it's a very special moment in our lives, all of us. And the fact that you're here, that's great. Glad to have you
Thank
on.
you.
Can we give our opinions on work life?
I'm
Yeah,
getting
go
to it. Don't worry. Okay, it's totally. I'm working. Anyway, the question I want to ask about is that so what's the plan? I mean, what's your plan? You know, like what do you see yourself in the next 5 years? What will you be doing? Let's start with you, Zoe.
I don't know. I have some speculations. Right now I'm majoring in biology. Simply because I thought AP biology was kind of cool, and I thought that evolution and genetics was cool. So
That's so
um,
cool. Holy crap.
thinking maybe being like a researcher for fields would be cool. Then again, I also think maybe something with linguistics could be cool because I love learning languages. Like I, I am studying like French and Chinese right now, but I also really want to learn like Arabic and a bunch of other languages too. But also like I was born in so like I'm an American citizen, but I spent like the first year of my life in China, so that place it kind of has like it's a special place for me, and I think that it'd be kind of cool to do something with China. I don't know what I was thinking. Maybe it could be like UN work or something. I don't know. But different options. Nothing clear.
That's so cool. Cause like, I'm kind of
Yeah,
speechless.
you're better than me. I was born in Sheffield, England, and I've never thought, oh, well, I want to become some translator for English to English. Like
Well, they
different
speak
dialects.
These speak
What?
yeah, they do translator.
Okay, sure.
What about you, Jock?
Yeah.
You're leaving the country next month, hopefully, or this month, hopefully. So how are you gonna see yourself in the next 5 years? And well, just basically your thoughts.
Finally, I get a chance to talk, eh, Ethan? You direct it towards me. I know that Zoe is the guest and all that, but I have opinions too,
You finally talk on your own podcast.
You know what? Let's do a separate episode, and it'll be just like Jacques' speeches for all the guests we've had on, and like the chances that I haven't had to talk.
Sure,
It'll
but
just be like my chance to just like spill everything out.
don't you have like a super to eat or something? Get to the point.
Yes, I do. So I'll get to the point. I'll say that from what I've learned is work is drama. Like there's some jobs you have that aren't drama oriented, but it's very rare. And it's always behind the scenes. So like the customers or the students or anything like that don't know anything. Like they have their world, and then there's the working world behind it, which is like drama filled, like deadlines, rushing to do things and all that stuff. And I've learned that like part of working is learning how to have a good poker face. You pretend everything's fine when really behind the scenes you're like, oh shit. So that's my contribution to this discussion.
That's it.
Well, you told me to keep it short, Ethan. Like I could go on and tell you guys like great, amazing stories of my working life.
No,
but it
no.
doesn't seem like you want that.
No,
so
no. I'm sorry.
I'm
It's just
gonna like
it's
get
just
to the point.
it's
and
just
get-
it's so funny because like you made it so like you have a lot of things to say.
You're the one who cut me off. You're
Oh,
like,
no,
oh,
no.
Jacques, you gotta eat. Anyway, what's
Anyway,
your thoughts?
okay,
I've given my thoughts. Now
Well,
your
yeah.
turn.
I'm just continuing your point basically. I feel like having jobs is about learning how to work with other people, and to me that's kind of troubling. Believe it or not,
Troubling.
yeah, believe it or not, I have trouble fitting in quite a lot of time. There's a lot of reason, to be honest. I can't think of any right now, but there's a lot of reason, and I find myself really hard to, really be myself at a workplace and be comfortable and try to be productive at the same time. It's something that I can't do. I'm more like a one-man team most of my life. So when you put me in a team. Well, it's not like I'm a bad teammate or a bad team leader or something. It's more about I just don't like jobs because I go to work
Okay.
and then I see people and then I'm like, oh, I hate my job. You know?
Yeah. Okay. Can I say something?
Sure, go ahead.
I have my hand up. I think, Ethan, you're a bit too much of a pure person. Like, you're always like taking the moral side. What I've learned from work is you have to be cold-hearted, cruel, ready to backstab anyone. Like in the 50-meter radius, that's working. So I can see why you're struggling with it. You're like, you're pure-hearted. It's kind of like a rabbit entering a fox nest and like trying to hang out with the fellow foxes.
Now I'm kind of
There's kind of issues there, right?
now I'm kind of wondering how did you get that job offer in China? What did you do?
I'm joking around a bit, but I think there is like sometimes like people don't do things the right way, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just jaded. Maybe I'm just like a terrible person.
Or maybe I'm just unlucky.
justify it.
Maybe I'm just unlucky because like
Maybe.
I actually had pretty pleasant working experience with different people. I guess it's just like about finding the right pond to swim in, and that's what I'm concerned about. I'm worried that I might not be able to find the right pond to swim in.
I think actually working colleagues are the most entertaining people you can meet. Like they'll share like the most interesting things with you. And for that reason, like that's the fun thing of work. Because like once you're done and you don't have to worry about like all the stress and all that stuff, and you just think back on those moments you had with like your working colleagues, you're like, man, I was working with some very interesting people.
Zoe, you work in service. Do you have any story about people that you met?
No, I have. There's one story in particular that comes to mind. So, at this time, I was working in the cosmetics and like beauty section of the grocery store. And I was just like restocking some nail polish, and then I noticed this woman. She was kind of like looking at a bunch of different like colors, and I was like, okay, maybe I'll go over and ask if she needs help, because you always go and ask if they need help, and they say no, and you're like, great, and then you leave. Love that. But this time she was like, oh yeah, I need help finding a shade of nail polish. I'm like, okay. So I go over, and she has a bunch of kind of like nude and white color. I was like, oh, all right. So she's going for like a neutral kind of thing. She takes out her fake tooth. She has a retainer. And she's like, okay, I am looking for a nail polish shade or shades to mix together to paint this tooth so it will look like my other teeth. I'm floored. But I mean, I do well to not show it. I'm like, okay, well, what have we got here? Let's see what we're working with.
I just love how you just went along with it. You just didn't say like, oh, I don't think that's a good idea. You just
this cannot be safe. This cannot be good for your health. But the customer gets what they want. So I for a good 20 minutes trying to find some good shades to mix together, and at the end she was like, great, I'll mix these together and paint my fake tooth. And she seemed happy.
Another happy customer, yay.
You've just admitted to murder on this podcast. A week later, that lady was found dead in her house next to like, her young poodle of a dog who was like, just one, and now does not have a like grandmother to like help feed him and all that. And it's all your fault. You committed murder.
I hope that it goes well. But, the whole time, got the fake tooth made. I tell them to redo it. Mm-hmm. Like I don't know. It's not my area to ask questions. I just help.
Out of your hands.
Yeah. No, when you work in like a grocery store, you get all kinds of people.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
crackheads from off the street. One person I worked with was an alcoholic, and she was very nice. But it's definitely a glimpse into the real world, and I think everyone should at least sometime in their life work at some grocery store to see the true meaning of life.
So you're not
Some
only.
of the weirdest things. Oh,
No, sorry, go
some
ahead.
of the weirdest things I've seen have been at grocery stores. I remember I was like in the meat aisle. There's this lady, and she was like grabbing like these ribs, these steaks, these chickens, and she was just putting them in her purse.
Oh my
And then she started to walk, and I was like, she can't be walking out the door. And turns out she just walks right out the door. I was like, Lord, I was literally like, oh my goodness. She just walked out the door with like probably like $400 worth of meat.
in her purse.
Yeah,
That's
their
so,
purse.
that's so funny. Um, luckily for me, I have a very tame experience with grocery stores. I don't know, like for some reason, grocery stores here are very peaceful. It's the place that, kids hang around, parents have fun and gossip, and your average worker get underpaid and, stuff like that. The usual. But other than that, nothing too crazy. I'm not sure if that
I
I'm
think
lucky.
you're the problem, Ethan.
Well,
You can cut this out later. But you're the one who was buying boxers and then was like, hey,
Oh,
hey, Pam,
please. Let's not get that.
Okay. A story for another time. Story for another time. Let's just say, like, yeah. Okay. I'll stop.
There's a line, John. You're.
I won't cross the line. Shall we move on to the last topic, Oppenheimer?
No,
So that I can
no.
finally
let's
go
talk
and
about-
eat. There's a lot of discussion points. I have many stories about work too. My stomach's rumbling. Yeah.
Well, okay, well, but
we
like,
can stay. We can stay if you want, but like, 11 o'clock's coming up. 11 o'clock's my bedtime.
yeah, I need to get lunch
As
as
we
well.
establish.
Okay, so I have one more question to ask, but like, do you want to go into Oppenheimer so like we can finish this quick?
Ask your question.
Okay, so it's so amazing that you're studying biology because like I literally have a deck of cards from the BD Biodiversity Museum Starter Pack in Vancouver, and so So anyway, I guess my question is that why biology? Why did you start it in that field?
Because I don't know if you know, but I'm only going into my sophomore year of college. I'm not like crazy.
My goodness, you're
Got
only
it.
a sophomore year.
I know.
We're old, Ethan. Actually,
No,
I'm
no,
old.
no.
You're younger than me.
That's not my point. My point is that you already did so much during your sophomore year, and I'm. Anyway,
Oh, now that you put it that way, Ethan, yeah, it
yeah.
does make me feel a bit depressed. I might go buy some Pepsi tonight.
Anyway, yeah. Biology.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, it was a subject that spoke to me in high school, and I was like, this is pretty cool, and it makes sense. It's like, I mean, how life works, and chemistry is how life works, but everything in chemistry is so small, I can't understand it. That's how I didn't understand a lot of Oppenheimer, because it was small.
It's so funny
small.
when you.
I like the transition.
Hold on. Like, it's so funny when you talk about biology and you're like, it just makes sense. When I was a kid, I dreamt about being a doctor, or at least my mom did. But I looked at biology and chemistry, and I was like, this does not make sense. Like, how can anyone study this? But it's just so funny. Anyway,
One of my best friends from high school didn't believe in evolution. He believed Darwin was a fraud.
oh my God! Like I had my best friend in high school. She was sitting right next to me. She was like the best student when it comes to biology in my school, and she didn't believe in evolution as well. And I was like,
Yeah, it's a hoax.
like how
Just like the moon landing.
But anyway, Oppenheimer.
Everyone knows that. Okay, Oppenheimer. Yeah, another complicated thing.
It's
that
so
doesn't make
random,
sense.
but anyway.
Okay. Okay, can I start this off?
Sure.
So, okay. So I texted Ethan and I'm like, yeah, I just went and watched this trash movie. It was named Oppenheimer. It was very complicated. I didn't understand anything. And yeah, it sucks. And then just yesterday, actually 2 days ago,
2 days ago.
Ethan goes and watches Oppenheimer, and he actually likes that pile of garbage. So defend yourself, Ethan.
Okay, but like let's hear it from Zoe first, because I know that Zoe didn't like it as well. So, is there?
I said I don't know if Zoe liked it.
Oh, okay.
I got the impression
okay.
she didn't. But
Okay.
Well, now I'm actually more middle ground. When I first got out of the theater, I was like, this is just bad. Like, this is so confusing because it was, and I still definitely do think this, like, it requires a lot of knowledge beforehand, like, of just, history and, like, the events that were going on. Because, I mean, yes, they are explained or at least implied then, but you don't really get the huge like scope. Like I feel like a lot of events in the movie were very
Watch now.
downplayed.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, all of a sudden they're like, the bomb was dropped in Hiroshima, and then I was like, wait, that's it? Like I know it's about Oppenheimer and we understand that, but I feel like that should have been a little bit more emphasized, like of this like how grave it is, but that was just my main thing, is that it was also like a little confusing, but I saw afterwards like the black and white parts are supposed to be like objective view, and then the colored parts are supposed to be Oppenheimer's point of view, but a lot of times it was very it was confusing and a little bit complicated to understand. But I mean, after doing research after the movie, I was like, okay, this kind of
okay. This is proving my theory. Zoe, good student. Who does research after a movie? Like before the movie, like Riot did. I can understand that a bit. After the movie?
You don't?
I think that's stupid. I do research after the movie because my small brain can't comprehend during the movie. Other people to do it for me.
See, that's the thing. Yeah. Because like we don't research movie because we're smart. We research movies because we were dumb. We didn't get it.
Okay. So does a good movie mean that you have to go after the movie and like be handheld like through every scene and have it explained to you?
Okay.
Is that really a good movie?
Okay, is it a good movie if it makes you think about it afterwards? Or just like what?
It took, the movie was 3 hours, man. Like 3 hours. I don't want to waste another 4 hours like researching it just to understand why the black and white scenes were there. Like, and it's supposed to be objective. Like, what? They didn't seem objective to me from my memory. Like,
okay. To answer your question earlier, I think I can agree with a lot of things that Zoe mentioned here. Personally, I find the movie is a little bit clunky in a sense. A lot of events are chopped up and some are kind of overlooked, I would say. So that I get it. It is packed full of a lot of reference and a lot of historical events. And I think that can put a lot of people off, I would say. Now, luckily for me, I happened to stumble upon this documentary about Oppenheimer, so I didn't get as lost, but still at some point I was still kind of confused. So I did what I did. I went back and I did some research, and I think it's a great movie. I don't think it's bad in any sense. It's only bad because I think some of the things that happened to Oppenheimer was pretty bad, and also the whole bomb dropping thing. That is, of course, it is implied that it's bad. I don't know. I don't have anything to hate it. It's a good movie. Fight me. Sue me. Whatever. Drop a bomb on me. Joe, what are you looking?
okay. Quote, I love Oppenheimer so much. Didn't even use the CG version.
What? Joe.
The cashier did. Okay.
There's a line, buddy.
You seem to have like backed out of your previous statement to me, Ethan.
I just said I don't have anything to hate it, so it means I love it. Somewhat.
Okay. You
I-
love Oppenheimer.
I love it.
I
Yeah.
can't believe you. How
What?
can we be friends? The movie was 3 hours, Ethan. And like it's like meant to be like a puzzle. But like at the end I was just as lost as in the beginning. Isn't the puzzle supposed to like solve itself? Like I just felt like it got even more messy at the end.
Because his life is messy, I would say. His life is very messy. He's a complex man in a very complex time. And I know that's not like the thing that you're supposed to love about it. It's just the fact that it's very complex, I would say. Yeah.
So then why wouldn't I just watch a documentary?
I mean,
It
you.
would just be more.
I mean, if
it would
you.
be chronological. Like I feel like the reason you liked it was because you watched a far better film, which was the documentary, before you watched the worst film, which was this movie.
I don't know. I
feel like
mean,
the documentary would have put a lot more explanation.
Yeah.
To the movie.
yeah.
And it would have
That-
been completely objective. We wouldn't need black and white and colored scenes.
Yeah, but like,
I think-
sorry, Zoe, go
It's
ahead.
more. I know you're good. I think that Oppenheimer's just more like cinematic, and it's more like a vibe rather than being like, here are the facts, here's what happens. It's more just to evoke like a feeling instead.
Okay, like the bomb exploding was a cool feeling. But that lasted for like 12 minutes, and I'm generous there. And the
Yeah.
movie was 3 hours. Like, my vibe was dead like halfway through the film. And when the bomb exploded, it kind of, went up a little bit and then went right back down to being dead in the water.
Yeah, because it's just happens after the bomb. Like it's just like people hate that Oppenheimer like did that. It did not need to go on for another hour and a half after that.
I think we've all shared our opinions. Ethan loves it, so he's in the middle. And I am like far, far into the like hate zone.
How much did you spend on the tickets?
Wasn't it $12? $10? It was a lot of money. For
It's like
like 3 hour. 20.
not very.
Yeah.
Anyway, do you have anything else to add before we wrap this up and you can go
I think you guys should all watch Spider-Man, the newest Spider-Man movie. That's excellent.
Oh,
I
I
don't
did-
think it's... Spider-Man. I don't think it was 3 hours. And it was way more entertaining than Oppenheimer, in my
It made-
personal opinion.
Too.
But, Ethan, it's his favorite movie of all time.
Hey, I
So,
didn't say all time.
There's people who are on the outskirts of society, and we must respect them. Hey, Ethan? I got your back.
Nice.
So, I think that was a good episode.
It
Shall we
was.
wrap it up? Or,
Yeah. I
and
mean-
can I finally go and get something to eat?
Yes, it was a great episode. Zoe, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
Hopefully
Thank you.
Hopefully we didn't say anything stupid so that you wouldn't join the next time, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I know you're like big brain and
Yeah,
small brain.
You're not
so,
only
like,
here's the thing, you're not only smart, but like you're street smart as well. And you're very busy. That's what I got. So thank you so much for spending the time with our us dumb monkeys.
and we might be able to can always come on in the future again.
Yeah.
Enlighten us with your wisdom.
Yeah.
Make sure you eat well, and
Hmm.
and so they're not starving the whole episode.
Sure. Yes,
She's-
I'll eat beforehand.
Yeah, she studies
And we
biology.
can have a longer episode.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, next
No.
episode you'll be in China, I'll be in Canada. That's gonna be very exciting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Zoe might be coming to China too. We might be both like doing the episode from China.
Yeah, that'd be
It would
cool.
be pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
That's
it'd be cool.
be very cool.
Indeed.
Indeed. Good night, everyone, or goodbye. I don't know. Whatever. Goodbye.
Okay, you did the intro, Ethan. I can do the outro.
I thought I
We can
just
be
did.
fair.
Okay. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. The outro's done.
I thought you wanted to have super. Go ahead.
I liked your outro. It was nice and short. Just like my opinions of work.
Just
That's our outro. Ethan, good job.